Hello and welcome to Dr. Viola Voilà Voices, a podcast and YouTube series produced here at ICAM in Ipswich. I interview local residents and people who have worked or lived in Ipswich, past, present, and future. I would like to introduce my guest, Randyll. Please let me know your pronouns and any pertinent information about yourself.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Randyll. My pronouns are she, her. I grew up in Ipswich. I worked in many places within the community such as the Ipswich Public Library, the YMCA, very community-oriented places, and most importantly, Ipswich Community Access Media. And I currently work in community access over at Puberty TV.
Yes, please tell me more about community access in general. So I'm from Arizona. Moved to Ipswich last year, May 2023, and I've never heard of community access. And then when I found out, I could be producing my own show at the expense of the town and meet amazing people and community, I've been blown away. So please tell me more.
So community access is like a great resource because you're able to get accessibility to video equipment, to podcasting equipment, to field equipment, and you get to go out or in studio and tell your story or whatever you're passionate about and talk about it. It's a great platform for you to be creative. Community access stations do a lot of programming with adults, but also children. We go out and we record local events such as like parades, festivals, sporting events. And we also just like are a hub for people to create a show like we're doing now, which is a lot of fun. And I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. I've been inspired by your work, not only because I see myself in you, in the fact that maybe you would like to talk about this first. Do you consider yourself a member of the LGBTQIA+ community? Because I see myself in you, and why I started this podcast was I wasn't seeing myself in this town. I wasn't seeing events or even gay flags around town. Where can I go and feel safe? And you immediately made me feel safe. And then when I found out about your work and how you work with all ages like I do as a Suzuki educator, I'm continuously inspired by you and your work. So if you could talk more about what inspires you in the work itself.
Yeah, that's very sweet of you to say, because I think what you're doing is very inspiring in creating this platform here in Ipswich, because Ipswich hasn't had anything like this before. So I'm so glad that you're here and you found ICAM. But yeah, so currently, I identify as a bisexual woman. I live currently in Salem, Massachusetts, and I work in Peabody. So I have a 10-minute commute now, and opposed to my 40-minute one. So yeah, I'm doing a lot with the LGBTQ community in Salem, such as the Hometown Queeros, which is a drag collective of kings, things, and queens. And we just produced a documentary back at the end of Pride Month. It was at the Peabody Essex Museum, which was really cool. I work very closely with Miss Diamond Wigfall and Buster Pants to produce their own podcast. And I also work with a drag queen out in Lowell, Bossy Boots. So we are doing a lot of queer stuff over in Peabody, which is great. And I also have done a lot of stuff with Nagley too. We just created an advertisement for them because they haven't had one updated since 2017. And if you don't know, Nagley is the North Shore LGBTQ Youth Association. So they do a lot of hands-on learning with kids and making them comfortable up from the ages of like 11 to 23, which is really great. So there's like a queer adulting program too. So yeah, there's many parts of, I'm so happy that community access, it's not only for your community directly, but it's for like the North Shore community generally. So we're able to give a platform again to all these voices. So I've been really inspired by Miss Diamond Wigfall and the Hometown Queeros because I went to their show 2 years ago on New Year's for the first time, and I was like, whoa, I finally have a space. And that was over at Bit Bar in Salem, and I've been going to their shows ever since. So it was just kind of like, I love these people, and I want to do something for them, and that kind of, escalated.
Yeah, in terms of who you mentioned, I agree. So inspiring. Ms. Diamond, the Hometown Queeros. If you haven't watched their Kings, Queens and Things?
Yeah. So it's the Queens, Kings, and Things of Salem. The documentary. It's on our YouTube. It's on the Peabody TV channel if you live in Peabody, the public channel. But yeah, we're doing like their podcasts are there too. We have like they're on Spotify and YouTube. Just again like those people are also like so cool and so down to earth and so loving and also just funny. They're just so funny. And yeah, I'm really grateful to know them.
And inclusive. Like, they are
Yes.
actively wanting members of the community, including myself. I got
Yeah.
to perform alongside at the Off Cabot.
Yeah, it was so fun being able to record you there because we were working on something. So it was so fun to have you be part of that.
Thank you. And what I'm inspired by with you especially is I keep seeing you at all of these events. And you're one of those, including the Hometown Queeros and Ms. Diamond. You're just working so hard. And as someone who also feels like the grind is never stopping, but I personally get my energy from the more I do. How do you get your energy, or what keeps you motivated to keep the work going? Because whenever I see you, I could tell Randall's working. Randall's working hard, and we need more people like you in the community doing the work. So
Yeah, I think what motivates me is collaboration and also just seeing, these people who I've been working with just really motivated to give space. And I think that's you should be able to give space, in all aspects of your life to people, personal, professionally. And I just think they're providing such a great space of community, one that made me feel belong. So like if I can show other people that community through like video and audio or whatever it is, and just be part of their journey in some way and support them, I'm all for it. Because again, like, I've been going to their shows so consistently. I've brought my friends to their shows. I've brought now my coworkers to the shows to go film and stuff. So we're just like having a lot of fun with them because they are such a fun, safe group. And that's like always a priority to Miss Diamond, Buster, Dick Kane, Miss Michael, Maxine Harrison, and Pee Wee Vermin. Like that, their goal is to create a safe space for all. So I'm so glad that I know all of them.
yes, and I've felt those safe spaces and been in those spaces, and I can't wait for the next event. From the PEM, the X Shadowcast screening.
The X Shadowcast was so good. So good. Did you ever follow up and watch the other movies?
I have not, but I want to watch
my
Pearl.
gosh.
It's at the top of my watch list.
Yeah.
Because after seeing X, I was like, I need to know who this
I don't-
character is.
I don't think I can ever watch X the same way. 'Cause,
After seeing the Shadowcast,
yeah, because
yeah.
it was just so good and it was so funny and they're always so clever. They always run such a great bit. So yeah, it's been so fun being able to see you at those events too. And we actually met at Miss Diamond Wigfall's 30th birthday event at the Off Cabot, and we sat right next to each other and we talked. And then the next day, you went into the Y where I used to work, and you met someone I know. And then I'm so glad that we connected that way.
Yes.
So
What I appreciate is you've been making these connections. So I blame you, Randall, for all of this. Because you're the one who connected me here. You used to work here, right? Can you
Yeah.
talk more about your
Yeah.
work here and how, coming from Ipswich High School, right? You graduated
Yeah.
Ipswich High School. So how did that work for you?
Yeah, so I graduated from Ipswich High School in 2014, and then I went to college for a few years. And I actually didn't start at ICAM until like I interned here in like 2016, 2017, I would say. And then I just worked and I recorded some government meetings, which were so fun. But it was nice because I would always ask Beth, the executive director here, if I could always hop into like a creative project or something, and she would always let me do that. And then I eventually became the production manager. And I'm so happy that Brian has followed me and filled in that position because he also came from a community access background, so I have a lot of love and respect for that. But yeah, so in Ipswich, I did some projects with the Parks and sorry, Carrie Bates. Recreation and Culture Department, Carrie Bates, Recreation and Culture, and I did a project with Gordon Harris, and he's the historian in town. So yeah, just kind of like slowly ingrained and trying to get these people creating shows and creating a platform. So
Thank you.
been a lot of fun. Yeah.
And then in terms of, I want to bring it to the work that you've been doing, supporting LGBTQ plus community and like seeing
Yeah.
yourself all over the North Shore. How was it like for you? Did you identify as bisexual when you were in high school? How did you feel in the community in that regard?
Yeah, so I actually didn't come out until I was in college, but like when I was in high school, I identified as bisexual, but I didn't really find my community until I was in college and kind of had that independence away from Ipswich. I love Ipswich, but there's like a lot of work that, needs to be done. So I'm so grateful to see, like pride events happening at the beach. This show happening at ICAM. Miss Diamond came here back in August.
At the Crane Estate. I was there.
Crane Estate.
It was amazing.
Or no, it was September. I'm sorry. I have like no sense of time. It was like the first week of September. So I'm glad that there's like slowly like a queer community building here. Yeah, so like growing up in Ipswich, like it really wasn't something that I would say that a lot of people talked about. I feel like I didn't really know anyone who was queer in my class until after we graduated.
We have
and
a
then
very
we were
similar
like,
story. Yes.
yeah, so I'm happy to see, because I have sisters who are 8-9 years younger than me, and they went through the school system. So I do know that like between the kids, it's more acceptable to talk about, and there's some teachers talking about it and supporting it. So, but I do know that like overall, like I think we all can do better in supporting our queer community, even if it's in like a super queer space like Salem. You can just keep building upon that and that inclusivity, because there's so much.
And honestly, for me, like you said, I just didn't know that anyone in my high school was gay. There was one gay out friend that I had, and he was ridiculed and mocked beyond belief. So I was protecting myself. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to wait until I know I'm in a safe space, which was college for me too, to finally come out and say, I am gay.
Yeah.
But my hometown of Gilbert, Arizona is very similar to here. Lots of tradition, a question I want to ask all my interviewees here on this Voices podcast and YouTube series is, when I say the word Ipswich, what are the words that first come to mind?
Ooh, the first words about Ipswich, I don't know, just like for me, I have like a lot of respect. Something that Ipswich does really well is really preserving the nature in the area. So like I'm very lucky in preserving the history. I grew up in a beautiful town. Like there's no doubt about that. So, but yeah, I guess Ipswich is, it just has been part of my journey. So like, I feel like there's parts of the community I still identify with, after, when I was in high school and middle school, I hated being from Ipswich, but as soon, why?
Yeah.
Just because I didn't feel like there was like a camaraderie, I guess, and a sense of community. And I just feel like that has slowly like developed over the past few years, especially. And also like when you're a kid and you come back as an adult and you're working in these community spaces, you're seeing a lot more than through the lens of a child or a teenager. So yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to work at ICAM and work at a community organization like the YMCA, where like my job was in membership. So I was meeting everyone. I was the membership director. I was meeting everyone all the time. So it's so nice to know more stories, because I think, when you're a kid, you don't really have or maybe I didn't, I will say, you didn't have as many opportunities to have those conversations, because I think just the world generally, I think it's evolving, but like sometimes we're not always listening, So I'm very grateful to have had those opportunities and kind of get to know Ipswich a little bit more as an adult and see like things happening like Illumination, which is happening we're in October. I don't know when this is coming out, but that's happening like this weekend. It happened last weekend. So there's like these great community events that are, ongoing. And I think that's Ipswich is finding its heart and rhythm for sure.
Mm-hmm. I like how you touched on Ipswich in regards to keeping its natural beauty, which is the main draw of what brought me and my family here, was Crane Beach.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. And
it is beautiful. It's a walk, though. My legs are burning by the time I get up that boardwalk. Yeah.
Yes. And I walk it almost every weekend with my family.
Aww.
So we enjoy it year round, which is so special.
Yeah.
And then you brought up the YMCA. So I've been going to the YMCA since we moved here. And that is how I met you, along the line with Eliza, and I've made so many great connections to the community
I love
way.
Eliza. Yeah, she's so quirky and weird and wonderful. I love her.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we're gonna bring her
creative.
on. She's gonna teach me how to paint something.
I love that. Yeah. I need to go over to her house and decoupage something.
But in regards to like feeling like the conversations just maybe didn't happen when you were living here, I agree with that because I'm not seeing myself in the spaces in meaning like when I walk into a business, I do notice if there's a gay flag up. I do notice, oh, there's someone who looks like I can identify with them, and I'm not seeing those people here in Ipswich. I'm having to travel to Newburyport or to Salem or to Beverly to feel like, oh, these are my people. These look like my people. And then I talk to them and I'm like, oh yeah, these are my people. Not to say everyone I've met here in Ipswich has been so kind to me. And the ones that you've helped connect me with, I've made such great connections, and I can't wait to further those connections here in Ipswich because like you said, the tradition, the history, there's so many people here I want to learn from and help take those traditions and bring them to the masses. That is what I'm most passionate about now, is offering these open, free concerts, events, fairs.
Hell yeah.
Yes, we need more of that. Like I joined the Ipswich Arts Association.
Oh, Cynthia August is amazing. Yeah.
So, and I want to bring my drag and my artistry and my music as a American violist with a doctorate to the community to be like, maybe that kid who's in high school, middle school, will go to those art events and say like, oh, I see myself in this town.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I've been, really motivated about.
Yeah, and you know, that's the perfect point. Like the queer community is here. It's all about visibility, and I am so happy that you're spearheading some of that. And let's get it going. I'm coming to those shows. I'm gonna have my dollars ready. Yeah, I'm so happy to support you, and I'm so grateful to know you, because you're already doing so much in regard to getting out there. So
thank you. Yeah, so far it's been a lot of talking to people. It's been slow, like you said, maybe it has to do with the tradition of actually getting those events put on a calendar.
Yeah.
So anyone out there who knows an event space that wants Drag Story Hour, all ages, music, please contact me because I've talked to face to a lot of the managers and business owners in town, and they, to my face, they're very cordial and nice, and very East Coast nicety, as I've been saying it. My family's from Massachusetts, so I'm used to the people and the culture. But in terms of actually putting a date on a calendar and saying, okay, you're booked, that has been my struggle.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for spaces to offer, libraries, churches, bars and restaurants. I know True North has been offering events, and I'm hoping to start my own because it's Ipswich. Yeah. So instead of bringing in these other queens that from outside, why don't you support a queen who's here?
Yeah, that seems to be the problem overall too. Is again, there's so much queer community that's local. Let's build that up first before we are outsourcing. So I'm so glad that you're going into all these businesses that are super diverse, by the way. It's not like you're hitting up one scene, like a bar scene or, something like that. You're going into churches and libraries and, community oriented organizations and trying to get something going. And I think everyone can use a little bit of something of drag, whether it's like, full on drag queen or doing stuff that you do over at the Suzuki school. Yeah.
And my work at Suzuki School, it's started a lot of conversations. Suzuki is a very traditional, rooted in classical music. But it's been interesting. Like, what is drag to me? Drag is just an elevated art form. It's a way for me to tell a story. It's not necessarily even an appearance. Like, to me, this is drag. I'm doing drag in my daily life. That's why the separation between Dr. Casey, which is what my students call me, and Dr. Viola Voilà, the separation is blurred. Like, I feel like Dr. Viola more and more just in my everyday life, just being my authentic self. Do you view drag in a certain way, or like, what is drag to you?
Well, I think going back to the documentary, like Ms. Diamond spoke of it like perfectly. Like doctors are in drag. Technically, you're going, you're getting out of yourself. You're putting on you're a different look of who you are in the world, and it's a different perspective of you. So drag is like whatever you want it to be, and I really love that comparison because like when I go into work in community access, like video is always part of my life, but like I'm putting on a different face. Like I got my game face on. It's a whole different vibration coming from me than like, if you were to catch me on the street. And I think that's everyone is doing drag in some way in their life. And we're coming forward with just like a lot of love and like a lot of authenticity too. So
and that's That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Being yourself and feeling safe in this space. And that's what I'm hoping to create here in Ipswich with visibility.
Yeah.
So to kind of turn the tables to a totally opposite question.
Sure.
Because I've been following your content now since we became connected a few months ago. And Scooby-Doo. I want to talk to you about Scooby-Doo because my first time in drag was Scooby-Doo drag.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Pandemic 2020. Finished my doctorate, finally had time to do all of this.
Yeah.
And I was Daphne for my first
You
ever
were?
time in drag.
I have to see that. That's amazing.
I can show you the picture. I think I've since taken them off of my social media.
Yeah.
But I could show you. But
my
what
God.
drew you to Scooby-Doo growing up? And I know it's posted in your bio. I even looked this morning.
Scooby-Doo movie, 2002.
Yes. And the live action
Yeah.
was one of the most overplayed movies in my household. Yeah.
It's like okay, so like I guess like the younger origins of Scooby-Doo for me is like it was really my jumpstart into like kind of horror, to be honest. Like I'm a big like fan of the horror genre, and so I feel like mysteries, people in masks, a good scare or two. I always loved that as a kid. And I also like, the camaraderie that group had, that friendship, that was always something that like I really loved. And also there's such like a queer narrative there.
Yes.
There's such a queer narrative, especially like in the live action movies too. It's all very like out of pocket and tongue in cheek, and I really like that. And it is something that like I have always like deeply loved and have like even put on the cartoons then, and it's like a little corny and campy too, and I love that. And actually I'm really excited about, I decided at the end of October going into the first week of November, I already have like a Mystery Machine tattoo. I'm getting another tattoo of the Phantom Ghost from Scooby-Doo, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, that's gonna be like a good treat myself after getting through October, because it's been a busy month.
And you deserve that.
Yeah.
I have 2 tattoos, and they were also treat myself tattoos at the end of each of my degrees.
Ooh, I love that.
And I never did one for my doctorate. So I'm like, what can I do to myself? Because it was the pandemic.
Oh my
So I'm like,
gosh.
what can I do? I need my doctorate tattoo to match. I have F holes, which are from my instrument, taking the sketches. And I have
Ooh.
a scroll here on my
Oh, that's so
shoulder.
pretty.
So I really want to add something. And
Yeah.
I'll hit you up for some recommendations.
See, I've been like out of hand with my tattoo budget. I've just been getting things I like. Like another thing I have is like I have a ghost face tattoo, and there's a lot of overlap between like the Scream series and Scooby-Doo too. You have Matt Lillard, and there's they've done like crossovers. I don't know if you've seen the Scooby-Doo Cartoon Network trailer. Daphne's making popcorn, and Shaggy's on the phone and is like, "Do you like Scooby movies?" And it's super funny. It's really good. It's like a little advertisement like back in the day, and Daphne was like Drew Barrymore. It was really good. It was like my favorite crossover yet. So
When did it come out?
I think like in the early 2000s,
Okay,
maybe probably the time that like the movie came out. But yeah,
Because you mentioned like horror and Scooby-Doo particularly, where you're like gateways to like seeing yourself on TV, and they were mine too. Scooby-Doo cartoon and like Mickey Mouse, like camp, over the top Looney Tunes.
Oh my gosh, Looney Tunes, yeah.
And that slowly
I
worked
was
its
waking
way
up for that,
to
yeah.
horror.
Yes.
So like, what was the next jump for you to horror? Because I recently listened to something that said that the reason we identify to horror movies are because the costume. Like the costume, the sense of mystery or hiding yourself behind a mask, but also it is the one day out of the year that we could go outside and look like however we want, and we feel just like everyone else. And I really related to
holiday.
that.
Yeah, it's my favorite holiday. I guess like well, the first like real horror movie that I got into was a Scream series, so it was really that, and I just have been attracted to more and more camp. Like I love Jennifer's Body. That's
Yes,
like
me too.
another favorite movie of mine. I really love the Conjuring movies. I really love this year. I really loved Maxine that came out, but I also love the Alien movie.
I want to see that.
Oh my God,
yes.
it was so
What's the
good.
newest one called?
Romulus.
Romulus.
It was really,
I heard
really
it was
good.
very, very well done, and I've seen all of the other ones and the Predators.
Yeah.
And so I've heard.
But also there's like a fun queer commentary. Like I remember when like the Babadook came out and they put it in the LGBTQ category on Netflix.
Yes.
And I remember that being like such a symbol during like Pride Month month and everything. And then on top of that, Megan has also become like a queer icon too. I actually saw her Halloween costume in Spirit Halloween the other day, and I was like, oh, Megan costume.
What are you going to be for Halloween this year? Do you know?
I really, I was thinking Daphne, but it depends on how much time I have. But I always,
You could borrow my
always
costume.
default to Kim Possible because I have the outfit in my closet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw the picture you posted yesterday. Was this the jacket too?
This was the jacket,
Yes,
yeah. But I always have this jacket, but it's just like in my closet. So I'm like, I'll just pull it out. So me and
Just
my
set your
coworker,
phone to the
yeah.
dun 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 like that.
It is.
It
If you
is,
text
it
me,
is.
it does do
It
that.
does?
Yeah.
Oh my
it
goodness.
does
If I
do
had my
that.
phone near me, I would test that.
Yeah. So I just love the horror genre, and I love that crossover with queer LGBTQ. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We're very similar.
Yeah. No, I love that. I
Finding
love that.
community
What's
here in
your favorite
Ipswich.
horror movie?
Oh my goodness. So the one I was traumatized by, which is so camp now, was Nightmare on Elm Street growing up.
Oh, yeah.
So it was around the same time me and my friends were watching all the Scream movies, and I loved the horror meets camp. And my friend was like, oh, this is similar to Scream. It is not similar to Scream. And I was
Yeah.
traumatized. The bed scene where like Johnny Depp's character gets taken under and just the
Yeah.
amount of blood. I mean, the amount of blood is camp, but as a child, seeing that and the fact that he preys on children
Yeah.
in the movie, I was like, too soon. But then I rewatched it like 5 or 10 years ago, and I was like, oh, this is camp. Like the scene where his arms extend 20 feet
Yes.
and he's like running down, chasing them.
I recommend there's a queer horror book called It Came From the Closet, and it's a book of like different voices, and they're talking all about their queer identity that they found in horror. And like Friday the 13th was one that was talked about specifically, and it was like such a good read. And The Exorcist was another one. Such a good read. It's such a good read. I
And
recommend
like
that
Freddy's
one.
character is very gay coded. And yeah.
Yeah.
So even then I saw myself in that, and that's why it's still like, it holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, it does talk about Nightmare on Elm Street in the book too.
It does.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I have
yeah. So you have to. You have to. I think they're selling it at Die With Your Boots On, maybe.
I was just there.
Yeah,
I should-
yeah.
They didn't
I
have
think
that
they might
March
have
table
that.
open,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I know they do like they do book pop-ups too. Yeah, and that's a cool thing about Salem. I'm so glad that over in Peabody I get to tap into like my own community. So I'm very lucky to do that.
And maybe to wrap things up a little bit, do you have any projects coming up that you're excited about, even if you can't talk fully about them?
Yeah, I can't talk fully about it, but like this entire October, I've been burning through a project with the Hometown Queero. So I feel like I'm I've been like living the life vicariously through a drag queen. So I've been going to all the shoots, all the shows. So we're putting something fun together. And I'm really, again, grateful to work with all of them. There's just so much light and love around those people. So that should be coming out in the next few months. I don't really know yet, but I'm excited. I'm always excited to collaborate with that group. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if we could cheers to that community
Yeah.
collaboration
Yes.
and engaging.
Absolutely. I love
Yes.
this mug so much,
This
by
mug
the way.
is yours.
Oh my
Straw
gosh.
included. So,
I can't wait. I'll put it right next to my Ms. Diamond mug.
well, thank you so much for joining
Thank
me.
you for having me.
And I
It's
can't
my
wait
first
to-
podcast.
I can't believe that.
crazy.
Always behind the camera,
Always behind the camera. Yeah.
but now in front. So
Yeah.
here's to many more future
Yeah.
memories and events. It feels like I've already known you for many more months and years than we have. So I can't wait.
I know. I see you so much. We're very ingrained in each other's lives.
And every time I see you, I mean, you look like you're working hard. So honestly, if you ever need anything and you see me in the room, just
Aw.
grab me and be like, I will be there. I will be that person for you. Very
Yeah.
willingly, because you are working hard and you are
Oh my
you
God.
are more of what we need to see in
Yeah.
this world.
You were
Yeah.
so nice the other night. It was like 2 weeks ago or so at Die With Your Boots On. They were doing a show, and I came from one event to the other, and my crew was already there, and I was like trying to catch up with them because I just wrapped up the other event. And you saw me, and you were like, "Can I help you carry things?" Like, and I was like, "That's so nice." And you were in like
In
full
my
drag
heels.
yourself, and I was like, yeah, it was just so sweet of you. So
I wasn't
thank you
corseted
for
and
that.
embodied that day, so I could still carry things.
Yeah, that was a great show too. So I can't wait to see you in more shows. I can't wait to go out and support.
Thank
So.
you. I'm doing my Spooky Suzuki event tomorrow, so we won't be able to. But I've been marketing
I
it.
love it,
And my
yeah.
keynote speech at Buckingham Brown and Nichols School, which is a very
Ooh.
traditional private high school in Boston, as like they're bringing
so
me in as their
awesome.
like LGBT speaker. So like these are the kinds of gigs I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that just making connections like I am with how you started all of this
Yeah.
here in Ipswich. It's working.
And you're so community oriented too, so I really respect that too. You're doing it for the purpose of community, and I feel like sometimes that can get lost. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so nice knowing you. I love knowing you.
Yes, yeah, and we're gonna. Yeah, this isn't the
Yeah,
end. I feel
this
like we're
isn't the
saying
end.
goodbye.
This isn't the end. Yeah.
So come see Randyll behind the camera at every event, literally, in the North Shore.
I'm getting my steps in.
Yes, and follow me at Dr. Viola Voilà across all social media platforms.
Awesome.
Oh,
Should
do you
I
have
plug
social? Yeah,
media?
please plug
Okay.
yours. Yeah.
I guess like if you want to follow me on my personal, it's Randyll.Elizabeth. But what you should do is go follow Peabody TV, which is Peabody_TV on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
And
Yeah, 'cause
check
we're
out
doing a
all
lot
those
of queer
podcasts
stuff.
and videos. I've been eating them up, consuming my content.
That
Can't
makes
wait
me
to see
so
more.
happy. I always love hearing feedback
And
that people are
sharing, so
listening.
yeah.
Yeah, you're so nice to do that.
All the
Thank you.
all the production you've done has been 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more and more come out of here too.
Yes,
I
me
love
too.
ICAM.
Yes, thank you again to ICAM, the entire team here, and to Diane, my producer. Amazing. Thank you.
Diane, I'd love to. I miss working with Diane so much. She's such like a creative oddball, and I love her so much. She always had like a funny little bit that I never would have thought of, and I was like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah, and I really had no expectations coming here, and Diane has blown me out of the water every single time
Yeah.
with just the work that she's done, and so quickly and efficiently with a smile. Oh, I love it here.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Just, oh,